Alright, today we're going to go over systems of equations by substitution. So, we need to know that substitution, think of like substituting in a football game or a basketball game. You take someone out and replace it with something else. We're going to do that same thing with variables. We were exposed a little bit to it during elimination. So we're going to take a look at it here. Alright, looking at the first example. I like to write mine side by side just because I do lots of arrows and stuff like that. So we can start with either equation because they're both solved for a variable. So it doesn't matter where we start. So they're both solved for y. So we're basically taking one part of this. Since this says y equals, this is telling me to put this in for y in the other equation. So I have negative 4x minus 5 equals 8x plus 7. Now we use our knowledge of solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides to solve this equation. So we need to get all of our variables on one side. We can either move negative 4x or I can move 8x. It doesn't matter. I personally want to move this one. So since that's negative 4x, we add 4x to both sides. Negative 4x and 4x are opposite, so they cancel, leaving me with negative 5 equals 8x and 4x is 12x. And I bring down my plus 7. Now we need to get all of our constants, or the numbers without variables, to the opposite side. So since that's positive 7, I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. That leaves me with negative 12 equals positive 12x. The operation happening between negative 12 and x is multiplication, so I divide both sides by 12. That leaves me with negative 1 equals x. Now we have to replace since this says x, we're taking the negative 1 and putting it in for x in the other equation. It really doesn't matter which equation you use, you'll get the same answer. I just like to make a nice circle with mine. So we have y equals negative 4x minus 5. We're replacing x with negative 1. So we have y equals negative 4 times 1 minus 5. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And negative 4 minus 5 that's supposed to be negative 1. Gives me positive 4. Gives me negative 1. So I apologize. I did not write the negative sign down for the negative 1. So negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4, and positive 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So our solution is x comma y, which is negative 1 comma negative 1. Example 2, we have y equals 2x minus 6 and y equals 4x minus 18. We'll start with this equation this time. It doesn't matter which one we start with since they're both solved for the same variable or a variable. So let's take this 4x minus 18. Since it says y is 4x minus 18, we are replacing it with the y over here. So we have 4x minus 18, replacing that y, equals the rest of the equation. Now we solve. We have to move our variables first. I can either move the 4x or the 2x. I personally want to move the 2x. So since that's a positive 2x, we subtract 2x from both sides. We have to subtract it from the 4x since those are the like terms. Oops. That's 2x minus 18 equals negative 6. Since this is negative 18, we add 18 to both sides. That gives me 2x equals 12. Divide both sides by 2. You have x equals 6. Now this is telling me that x equals 6. So we are going to replace x on the other equation with 6. So we have y equals 4x minus 18. Again, we are replacing x with 6 because this says x equals 6. So I have y equals 4 times 6 minus 18. That's 24 because 6 times 4 is 24. And we have y equals 6. So your answer is 6, 6 because it's x, y.